I tend to help people focus on what they really want, and it starts with just putting them on paper.
I don't know why that has been such a difficult process, but it's only been this year that I've actually done this and stayed consistent with it. And of course, big surprise, it's changed my life and it's, businesses.
Who'd have thought?
Exactly.
Welcome to Sales Assassins, the podcast that unveils the lost art of word-of-mouth marketing for professionals just like you. We cover everything from building relationships and nurturing connections to overcoming the challenges of modern marketing. You'll learn how to stand out in a crowded market, charge confidently for your services, and create an army of people recommending you without hesitation. Now, let's dive in and make you deadly effective at sales.
Welcome to the Sales Assassins podcast. Joe, it's that time of year. Can you smell it?
The coldness?
No.
Oh, it's goal time.
It's goal time. It's that time of year when, we sit down, we figure out those resolutions, right? And we sit there and we are on it till about January 11th, and then they go in the drawer and we never think about them again. So I'm guessing that's the wrong way to do it.
Writing them down, first of all, would be a huge step because about 98% of the people on the planet don't even write a goal down. So just putting it on paper is a great start. Start there. Just sit down. There's, a gazillion ways to do it. We have something called 10 goal, works very well. We break that down into quarters, into weeks, into days, and it's a simple process like everything we do. Just a way to simply get in touch with your goals, clarify them, and make sure that you're focused on them because, as you know, you get what you focus on. So if you want to focus on what you don't have, what you don't want, negativity, any of those things, that's what you get. So I tend to help people focus on what they really want, and it starts with just putting them on paper. That's like step one. So that's
I'm here as, I'll say, the newly converted, not from believing that goals are important, always have, never done them, like to any consistent degree. And so I think this is good to share because I understand that feeling that a lot of folks have out there that for some reason it is just in the wiring to sit there and review the same thing over again or to put it on paper. I don't know why that has been such a difficult process, but it's only been this year that I've actually done this and stayed consistent with it. And of course, big surprise, it's changed my life and it's, businesses.
Who'd have thought?
Exactly. It's like I'm going around to the, I'm like the newly converted. Have you heard of this thing called goals?
Brand new. Smart goals too. Like, have you heard of this?
Exactly.
It's that thing that everyone goes through. What works, we rarely do. And, I've seen it across especially the last 5 years where every client, we have them write their goals down. And it's one of those things. It's like flossing. You probably should floss every day. Your teeth would be better. Your health would be better. Your heart health. And there's all these benefits. And it takes literally 60 seconds. And people just don't do it. There's no immediate gratification from it. So it's easy to skip. All the mindset stuff is the easiest to neglect because you don't immediately get it's not like I wrote this down when I wrote my goals this morning and all of a sudden it appeared to me like a genie in the bottle. What happens is, first of all, you got to step back and look at what are the real keys to success. So number one, it's self-ideal. How do I see myself? What is my self-image, my self-confidence, and where do I see myself going? Well, if I don't write any goals down, I'm like adrift out in the Gulf of Mexico. I'm just going through the motions. I get up, I get to work, I try to get home in time to make some impact, and I get to bed, and I'm really just out in the middle of nowhere getting through life. Goals, they turn on that. It's called the cybernetic part of your brain. It's like it's a heat-seeking missile. Like if I live with my goals, if I write them every day and I'm focused on them, the odds are when I take action, I'll take action towards those and I'll get to those faster. So if I, first of all, I got to see where I'm going and see myself. Then it's writing and achieving goals. So like if you want to be successful, people who write down goals and achieve them, their self-confidence soars and they're the most successful people on the planet. And then if you want like some added extra, secret sauce, the third part would be self-responsibility. Everything that happens in my life, good and bad, is on me. It's the most liberating thing that you can ask for. If it rains on me, I didn't bring an umbrella. It's as simple as that. And I can't blame other people. I call it you for you, you for them. So if you got a family and a team, you're responsible for you, you're responsible for them. You can't control them, but you're responsible. Something goes south on the business end, something goes south at the house. It probably had zero control over it, but if you're responsible, that's liberation and it's control.
And real quick too, I want to touch on this because I honestly want to do an entire episode on that aspect. I'm almost done reading the Release Your Brakes that you recommended, and you have people go through.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And actually like hardcover because I can't get the audio book. So it doesn't exist.
I don't think Jim made one.
Exactly.
Like
back in
the 80s or something.
68. Yeah.
Yeah.
For some reason, he didn't make that CD back then. But yeah, it's fantastic. And it's really designed around that exact aspect. And that's such a huge component. And so there's enough there to go deep on because we talk about foundational things and pillars and all of that. You talk about number one, if you don't get that sorted, that you're responsible, I don't know what else you do. So yeah, let's dig back into goals and how you take people through this, because again, speaking from the, newly converted aspect, I understand that feeling. There's something about, number one, it's confusing why it's so hard to go, hey, what do you want? Define it like, and I think maybe for some of us, there's just this feeling like I have to decide and this is it. And all my other options are gone once I do this. There's some piece of that maybe, but I promise again, just to sit there and have that direction. And then not just, okay, I've done this because I've done that in the past, but this every week. For me, and I could probably benefit from daily, like you're going into, but every week I've been like, okay, here's where I am. Oh, that's right. It's just that little piece that's right. I got to get this scheduled in or I'm never going to hit this. And what you're getting to as well is like, there's just this other energy, something that happens that you make better decisions. You bring this stuff into your life once you've identified it, for sure.
Well, your energy goes where your focus flows. I know that's a rhyme. So like wherever, it's just like it goes right to it. So to simplify it, because some people make it bigger than it is. And if you're having trouble with not knowing what exactly it is you want to do, you can start with what you don't want. I mean, sometimes we'll run into people, they're not quite clear. So just, okay, what don't you want? Then preset opposite. What's the opposite of that? That would be the stuff you do want. So we break it down and actually categorize it so they can look at the spectrum of their life. So we'll say, do 3 or 4 business goals for, let's use 2025. And Assassins just read theirs out loud to each other for accountability last Tuesday. And in Scottsdale 2 or 3 weeks ago when we were there, people stood up, stand and deliver. So like now it's not just you in that arena. You've got other people that have heard what you want. So you can start with, okay, what are 3 or 4 things in my business I want to accomplish? So that could be revenue, number of clients, a metric that you're trying to hit. For us, it's producing world-class content every week. So bonus when you do this for me, basically, because we all know who facilitates it. Like you just got me back on track 2 minutes ago. So that's world-class. But really, like that's measurable. Every single week we want a piece of world-class content. So that's a business goal. It's not a revenue goal. It's not a client goal. It's not a input KRA. We want a piece of content every week that's I would consider world-class, and I'm the ultimate judge of my own content, I guess, because no one likes our shit. So no. Anyway. But so do 3 or 4 business goals. Then if you have other people in your team, you could add one in there that's something for your team. And then you can start looking at, so now I've kind of taken care of the business end, but that's not, it's all like pillars of lifestyle. So it's more than just one thing. So then you could have a reward. I hear this all the time, like, love the process, not the end result. I get the logic. I just don't like it, and I don't respond well to it. And I can tell you the people we work with, they love a reward. And we're still at the end of the day, when I do something and I'm rewarded at the end, I'm more likely to do that again. There was some dude named Pavlov that did a study around that. It wasn't with people, but I still think that works. And I can tell you from my own experience and from everyone in all of our, platforms, they like the reward. So maybe have a reward goal that when I hit all these other goals, this is the reward. It could be for your family. It could be tangible. It could be intangible. You pick, but it has to be measurable. It has to be targeted. It can't be esoteric, like I'm going to feel better. I guess you could try that, but I would have a physical reward. And then look at, okay, do I want something in my health, in my giving? You can add those in, and we break those down into categories. So you're really covering for the year all those areas of your life that you want to improve. And then it's measurable. And we have a whole worksheet, and it literally is the old SMART goals, because I want to write them in the present tense as if they're already done. What you're actually doing, you're not just writing something down. So I think some people think, well, I write this down and nothing happens, and that's what you're actually doing if you do this consistently. So like if you do what we teach, which is get up every day, here, I'll show you, and write your goals, like in a notebook. So I write my goals at the beginning of the day. If you do it once, you're a superstar. If you want to be in a different stratosphere, do it again sometime towards the end of the day. Some people do it when they get up, when they go to bed. Some people do it when they get to work, when they leave work. But what happens is now I am writing this, and I've probably said this before, but luckily we're still attached to our hands. So you've heard Neuralink, that thing they're going to put in your brain to keep you alive to 150. You actually have one. It's called your hand. And when you write something, it actually inscribes it. So you're repetitively programming your mind and your subconscious, more importantly, which is what controls you. Like you think your conscious mind controls you. It's not. 95% of everything you do is done by your subconscious. And the more that you train it to focus on what you want, it will come up with solutions. It will put you in the right places. That's the thing that you get from the goals. It's the rewiring of your brain around where you're going and how to get there and how to get there faster. Like everybody who does this, by the way, has the same phenomenon and they think it's voodoo. It's not. It's a change in focus. It's the red car. I never wanted a red car. Now I want a red car. Now all I see is a red car. It's because my neural pathways now are focused on that. So now I see it everywhere. So the first step in that is writing it down and doing it repetitively, like until it becomes like I can just write these without thinking. Then you start writing them without looking at what you wrote yesterday or this morning. And that's when that takes over. And what I have had happen to me, and I can get, if you want to bring people on to attest to this, when you start doing it that way, it is then your subconscious making big things small, small things big, things irrelevant. It is getting more fine-tuned on what it is you do really want. So it's not like you write a goal on, December 19th and on January 1st of 26. It's exactly what you put down. That most likely will have changed. But if you have no target and you have no goal and you've done nothing, then it's what everyone whines about on their New Year's resolution. It's a nothing burger. So it's very interesting if you do it consistently.
Yeah. So let's make it high level. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Joe, I'm bought in. Where do I start with this? How do I break it down? How many? Does that matter? Is that getting lost in the weeds?
Kind of. What you don't want to do is overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
Because then you're like a target. If you were looking at a target, it's like pretty simple. There's a bullseye there, and there's 2 other rings. I really want to focus in on a simple bullseye. We actually go, and this is for another day, something called your major definite purpose, your MDP. That's the one goal you hit, hell or high water. So of the 10, and 10 is just a number that, I don't know, was picked out by Brian Tracy like 40 years ago that worked. I like doing stuff that works, by the way. It's just a revolution. But in that, what I like in that 10 is I can break it into different categories and then pull that one out that's like, this is the one that I rise and shine with and that I'm going to get after Like we have a revenue goal, or I have a revenue goal, and that's the one that no matter what, that's the one I'm laser focused on. And so then if you want to simplify it, just, get a pad and a paper out and write down the 10 things you want and then write them in the present tense. So if you wanted to make $5 million, I make $5 million. That's it.
Right. But even backing out a little bit too, are you breaking these down into 10-year, 5-year, 1-year, 90-day? Like what's that starting point?
Well, I would recommend for 2025, you just do an annual in every category. We then break them down. So what we do with that is we call them quarterly big bites. And that would be, what do I have to hit in the next 90 days to hit that 1-year goal? So in the first quarter, across the spectrum, here's all the things that I have to get done to hit that goal on an annual basis. Then you readjust it, because in Q2, you could be off, you could be ahead, you could put a stretch on it. I mean, if you really want to get into the nitty gritty of this, once you put those business goals in there, then you put a multiplier on them, because everything takes twice as long and costs twice as much. So I'm going to say, if my revenue goal that I come up with in my own mind is, let's say it's $1 million for, mathematical, then I want to target $1.5 million. Because most likely, and I don't know if this is a phenomenon, but most likely you will hit within range in goal. And a lot of times it's close. And it's weird, if I target $1.5 million, I'm more likely to hit $1.2 million than if I target $1 million and hit $1 million on the bullseye. And everything you do and all so everything then centers around that stretch, and I get closer or I surpass actual. There's an actual form, so it'd be like actual goal times 1.5, because I know how this stuff works. And you all know this too. It's like when we put a flight plan in place, think of the last flight you were on. You did not take off from, Jackson National or whatever in Atlanta and land in Denver on a straight arc. The entire time you were off, like in the wind, weather, turbulence, captain fell asleep, whatever. So it's readjustment along the way. So the timing of it is going to be different, and there's going to be life I'm confident everyone's alive. So stuff's going to happen. You're going to get sick. Kids are going to get sick. Something's going to happen in the economy. All these extenuating circumstances. So you want to be nimble enough to adjust. But if I'm constantly focused on it, I'm quicker. If I'm out to sea and storm comes, what happens? I'm deep shit.
Right.
So that would be the way I would be laser focused on those targets with those deadlines, and then programming my mind as if it's already happened. And then I'm more precise. Like I don't know where I stole this from, but it stuck out in my mind. You have what's called a power equation, and it's clarity, momentum, and speed. The more crystal clear I am, the more action I've taken and gotten momentum, the faster I will go. That's my power. Everyone who writes goals down probably thinks these aren't happening fast enough. It's kind of like praying at times. It's not on my timeline. It's on someone else's. So if I'm consistent, though, I will get there faster. And if I have bigger targets, I'll definitely get there faster. Let's if you're sitting, if the 6 or 7 people that watch this, if you were making a decision on what you were going to do and your target was $1 million versus $100 million, just do that to yourself. Change your target from $1 million to $100 million. That's the release your break stuff, by the way. I promise you, just your posture will change. Like you will breathe, and I said 100 million and my shoulder blades came together. So it's this thing, the heat sinking missile. Like, it doesn't mean to be ridiculously ignorant. I'm not pontificating that. I'm just saying, think differently and bigger and set these goals like that, write them down. It will dramatically change how you operate.
The other phenomenal thing that happens is it becomes a filter for what you do, the emails you read, the offer that's in your inbox that you consider or not. We just went through Black Friday. Everybody's got a deal, right? when you're laser focused on where you're going, what you need, you can very quickly just like, okay, that gets me there. That doesn't. Most don't. So it's a very quick thing instead of, oh yeah, I guess I could kind of do that. That would be an interesting path to go down. It's an amazing filter.
So the way you want to filter that, Jason, and this works, is what I'm about to do going to get me closer to my goal? That's it. Is what I'm about to do going to get me closer to my goal? That could be with your family. That could be with your, like, is what I'm about to spend time, energy, and money on going to get me closer to my goal? I don't know. I'll share one with you this morning. Great friend of mine said, hey, I'm wanting to go see the inauguration in January 20th. You want to go? And I'm probably not going to go. Most likely not. But okay, let's change that. Is that going to help me hit my goal? Not at all.
No. Yeah, no way.
No. So now I have to make a decision there, and I've got stuff, let's say, so like when you change the filter of, is what I'm about to do going to help me hit my goal? It's easier to do what you should be doing or what you must be doing. So that I 100% agree. It's how you then, it's now how I judge how I use my time because I'm on a deadline.
Yeah. And of course we can, there's those things, family comes into this and that doesn't help me hit my, financial goal or something like that. And we weigh those, but still you have something to weigh against. You're not just, oh, sure, whatever's floating your way. Yes, no, there's a serious filter. And yes, sometimes you're going to go, no, it doesn't. But I'm fried right now. And if I don't sit there, and you can have some of that, but man, even minute by minute, if I stop and check my email right now, is that going to get me closer to my goal or not? No, I got shit to do today.
Right. Well, I would schedule in some procrastination. Like literally, like if you're not a robot. So the nice thing about writing your goals down and knowing your numbers and measuring is then if I know where I'm at, and I have a goal and I have all that data, like we're on track, we're gapped, whatever it is, or whatever the delta is, it might be easier to say, you know what? It's Black Friday. I'm going to go home at 3. And that might, now you have to weigh that, but or you could go off of your feelings. I mean, so like, which one do you want? Like, I know where I'm at relative to my goal and I know my numbers and I've got a hard deadline and I have a target. Then my decision making is much easier and it's less fatiguing. Now I have less decision fatigue. Should I do this? Could I do, like, okay, I know where I need to be and this is my major definite purpose or this is my health goal. The health one's a big one because I don't know about you, but when it gets dark earlier and it's, like that winter, and even though I think 65 is cold now, that's a little easier to, snuggle up and stay in bed. But if I've got a health goal, is it going to get me?
Yeah, that's and that shifts into something I preach about all the time is that identity shift. And when you do that with these goals and you write them in present tense, like I am this person, then that's the other filter too. Would a person making $100 million a year do this right now, or would they do that? And that's that's a great decision filter as well.
We have a fun one at the end with those of you that ever come into Assassins. One of the last learnings that you do is called the extreme version of you. And we did it in Inner Circle, and there's one of my great friends named Chris. He always says, would the extreme version of Chris do this? So you think about, extreme doesn't mean like to be a loudmouth. Extreme means how close can you get to your greatness? Like, what is the extreme version of yourself? So he'll say that. What would the extreme version of Chris or the extreme version of Chris would do this? So he is creating the identity, and that's why we did it, because all of us have an extreme version of ourselves. And if we live up to that, then again, goals are surpassed. Life is better. I have more financial, like all those things that you want on the other side are through the extreme version of you. You don't have to go be someone else. That's just you. And goals are like I said, think of it as a heat sinking missile. Like once they're launched, now we're on target and we're going to get there as fast as humanly possible. And all sounds good, especially going into the holidays and New Year. there's some keys to it. Number one, write them down every day. Live your life on paper. You're more apt to actually take action and take massive action towards them. And when I say like look back at your calendar if you have a revenue goal, and I did this the other day, by the way, and I'm like, we didn't have as many calls on the calendar as we did, 60 days ago. And you can say, well, it's the holidays or whatever it is. No, then play it back, do the Peyton Manning. Play back the tape. Where was your time? What did you do? And then and then relative to goal, okay, we got to increase it.
But yeah, let's just give a high level review. Like, hey, number one, pull that piece of paper out. What are they doing? Number one.
So number one, get a spiral notebook, get a pad and pen, whatever. I have a spiral notebook to my right and I have the lion notebook to my left. I live my life on paper. What you do is then write 1 through 10 and take the first 4 and designate those as your business goals. Take the next 1, maybe 2, depending on if you're on a team or if you're not. You can designate that as a team goal. Then I would take one. One I really like is a wealth goal. That's different than your business goal. Your wealth is 1 or 2 things. A, how you spend your time, doing what you like with who you like. The pillars lifestyle, as we've talked about. I spend time with people I like that like me back, and we both prosper financially. That's wealth. That's wealthy. There's also a financial aspect. So maybe it's, an investment that you want to make in this year, or it's adding to some investments. And some of the people in Assassins, that might be your hygiene investments. Do you know what those are? That's your 401k, your Roth IRA, or that's hygiene. That's like automatically taken out of your paycheck. But have a wealth goal. If you want to be wealthy, you have to have a goal there. In the inner circle, people are trying to get to 100 million. So start breaking that down over a decade or 5 years. So have a wealth goal. Then you can look at, okay, is there something I want to reward myself or my family with? I like that one to be real tangible, like a thing. Now that sounds a little, I don't know what you would call it, but don't guilt yourself, reward yourself. Like don't make yourself feel guilty for wanting something. If you worked your ass off for an entire year and you were the extreme version of yourself, what would you give yourself or your family at the end of that year? I've got 4 on my list. If you want me to share them, we're buying a new house, a new boat, a new jet ski. Got a daughter turning. That's not mean. Greedy. It's like that is a reward system. It gets you better doing the goals. So do that. Then I would look at your health, and we've got a spectrum of ages in our platforms. We have 22 to 55. And your health goals are probably different at 22 than they are at 55. I'm 48. You're 32. How old are you? 33.
Sure.
I have health goals despite this, temple that you see before you. So, and as you get older, it should be to be stronger. If you want some health advice from a dude that you shouldn't take health advice from, get enough protein, your bones, your muscle, all that stuff. So anyway, have a health goal. Have a
is that a do as I say, not as I do goal?
I'm in the gym 5-6 days a week. I know it shows. It's amazing. But, have one around your health. Have one around your family. It's hard to have a tangible goal for your family, by the way. Think that one through. But if you don't, I don't know. I've got 5 kids, 4 at home. Sometimes it's chaotic and you just try to get through the day and get kids where they need to be. What if you had a targeted goal for your family? It could be around their health, their mental health. Mine is about the kids and confidence. I have confident kids, but confidence goes a long way in this world, and belief does. Yep. So I'm intentional about building their confidence. So that's a good one.
I think with family especially, it's the goal is taking what you're in control of, and it's allocated time, it's intention when you're with them. As silly as it seems, I'm going to be better at eye contact with my family. You know what I mean? These kind of measurable things.
Look at your phone and listen.
Exactly.
We have a whole spreadsheet on it called Plant the Seeds in the inner circle. It's literally, what are you measuring the 10 things you're doing every day to be intentional? So, I kind of walk the talk. 100%. Yes. It's hard to be in two places at once. And a lot of us are. And then the last one, and this is the one that it's sometimes neglected, giving your contribution. Like at the end of all this, all the numbers I just pontificated, at the end of all this, you're going to be known for what you gave. That's it. We've talked about that. So are you intentional with your giving? Is it time? Is it money? Is it both? Is there an organization? Do you have a goal? I have a lot of successful people, especially in Inner Circle, and they are like, I'm going to do this for this group. I'm going to give this amount. I mean, our number one fan, Gary. So shout out, Gary. I mean, that dude's like, he's going and talking to the youth. He's building programs for them. He's wanting to do a 501c3. Like, he is intentional with his giving, because that, above all else, is most important. So you look at that spectrum, you break that out into a year. We put it into big bites. We pour gas on the fire and have you do some affirmations. We can have a whole nother discussion about that. We don't have time today. But then you program this thing to hit it. And really, then you only have one competitor. And guess who it is? It's a person looking back on this camera. So that's the goals. Yep. Happy New Year.
Hit it. Do it. Make a list of 10. Write them down. Write them down tomorrow. Write them down the next day. Like, start there, and it will absolutely be life-changing.
100%.
We'll see you all next
all right.
time.
Peace.
In a sea of endless digital noise, your ability to connect and generate authentic word of mouth is your deadliest weapon. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to break through to the next level, the principles we discuss here are your blueprint for success. It's all about being the most trusted and valued in your network. To maximize what you've learned today, visit joinsalesassassins.com to see how you can become a true sales assassin in your industry. Until next time, keep sharpening your skills, expanding your network, and remember, in the world of sales, the true assassins strike silently but effectively by doing what nobody sees coming, building genuine connections and powerful relationships. Stay deadly, stay authentic, and we'll see you on the next episode of Sales Assassins.
This show is powered by Media Leads. To get your next great podcast produced, go to MediaLeadsCo.com.